Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Unindoctrinated Show. My name's Jordan Cohen, and it's great to be with you guys early in the morning. And I like to do my thing early before the sun comes up while it's still dark out. And let's see if we can get this thing fixed up right. But whatever your circadian rhythm might be, we're happy to have you guys here along with us. And it's just interesting. I just wanted to, and we're going to talk about the pop band Ruby Skull today. Some of their songs getting big, and how they're getting big. Ruby Skull, Ruby Skull, Ruby Skull, with lead singer Jake Evans. But I just wanted to mention I mentioned circadian rhythm, and I just want to say, just because a refresh for myself, because I don't know nothing, and that's a beautiful thing about this show, because I'm not trying to purport like I know everything. I don't know. Maybe I know a few things here and there. Anyway, circadian rhythms, just as a refresher, are the physical, mental, and behavioral changes an organism experiences over a 24-hour cycle, and light and dark have the biggest influences on circadian rhythms, but other factors include food intake, stress, physical activity, social environment, and temperature even affects the circadian rhythm any individual might have experience. So I like to do my thing early in the morning. I guess but you know what? That's my circadian rhythm at this moment, but there might be a time later on, maybe, I don't know, where my schedule involves me doing more stuff late at night, and then maybe my circadian rhythm turns more nocturnal. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just saying I could, if you fall into a certain lifestyle or that's your schedule, you kind of, adjust to that. And then, of course, there's some of us that are just working long ass hours and never seem to catch up with our circadian rhythm at all. And that can be stressful. So if you're on the road and you've got a long ways to go still tonight, hopefully this show will keep you at least entertained and awake and focused on the task at hand, with a nice little storytelling type of distraction from the Unindoctrinated Show, which we have here today. And we're going to get right into it right now. We're going to talk about Ruby Skull, singer-songwriter Jake Evans, Linville, Indiana, and how that all mixes into the tale of Joel Doo and the Doo Divinity Den. And we'll talk about the MC Club, Lions of the Den, and I'm going to be putting some, since this show is so new, we're going to be doing some introducing new stuff all along. And I got people I'm going to be coming on and that will be here and part of the show. But right now we're just getting this thing launched off the ground. So I'm going to be giving you some visual imagery I've been coming up. And people that know me already know that I'm a visual artist, and my whole writing and everything and all this creation really came out of really my fine arts discipline. So as a visual fine artist, but really just as a writer and creator. And, nowadays I'm thinking maybe I should have been a theater or a drama major, but whatever. But anyway, so that's where all this comes from. So we're going to talk about Ruby Skull and how that weaves into the Doo Dynasty universe. And Anyway, so Jake Evans, the lead singer of Ruby Skull, and guitar player, forged this band with his childhood friends, Paul Hatchett, and who played drums, and Keith Shepard, the bass player, also played saxophone. And they formed this trio. Eventually, they grew up together, and they formed this trio while still in kind of just, really early on, middle school years. Eventually, it went through some different band iterations, and other people were involved along the way, but eventually it all kind of wound up back to those three, and they had this band called Ruby Skull, which is now getting big. And their music, which is kind of a mixture and a fusion of pop rock, folk, bluegrass, and blues, and with a little bit of kind of Latin and R&B flavor going on in there. So very popular nowadays, Ruby Skull is. And the music's good. It's good music. Ruby Skull has some good music. They got some good songs. Hold Me Close Every Day. They got that dark one, Too Many Holes. They talk about the variable infinalities, the spinning hourglass, doo-dooism, the doo-doo teachings of Joel Doo-Doo, and Sister Sin, and all the complement of characters. Ruby Skull did a show out at the the Doo-Doo Divinity Den, the MC Club, Lions of the Den, run this place. And I'll show you guys a image of it. I'm going to try to put it in right about now. You see this popping up. And I'll show you guys some images of Joel Doo-Doo and some of these other characters. The president of the MC Club out in the desert. It's out in the Nevada desert somewhere. Yeah, pretty cool glass and steel structure. It's just very cool. Very, it's kind of like a church, clubhouse, healing center. And hell, what's this thing called again? Let me see if I can find it on here. I found this article about it. And at the chapter, the Lions of the Den chapter headquarters, their clubhouse, and it's the Doo-Doo Divinity Den chapter headquarters and healing center in the Nevada desert. This I'll show you, and you can see some of the photos, and there's another chapter up in Alaska, and we'll show you that one. I actually like the facility in Alaska that the Lions of the Den operate. Just really good friends of Joel Doo-Doo and the Doo-Doo Divinity and the Doo-Doo Dynasty organization. Military ties going back. And the president is this guy named Gatlan Ranger, Gatlan Ranger, like Texas Ranger. So this guy Gatlan Ranger is a president of the MC for the Lions of the Den MC. And he's this big, imposing dude. I guess he's like 6'4" or 6'6" or something. And just like this big, like, just like wrestler-looking dude, kind of right out of Central Casting looking dude with tattoos and everything. But he's like this soft-spoken guy with this English accent. It's just like the weirdest thing. But he's a very friendly guy. Family guy. He's got like 3 kids that are like all like under 10. It's like like the cutest thing in the world, Anyways, his wife has like this like some cooking channel or something. I mean, it's just it's ridiculous, but it's cool. And anyway, so and I guess at one point, so Joel and Ruby Skull and Jake Evans and Paul and Keith, they all went out to and did a show for the MC for their winter festival, whatever it was. And so there are motorcyclists from all around the country and different parts of the world, Europe, South America. Yeah. Denmark. You know, just strange places. And we're going to try to get a hold of some photos from that festival and bring them to you guys. And if I got them, I'll start putting them up around here, and I'm going to try to get a hold of those by the time I post this video. So should be cool. But let's talk about Ruby Skull and their awesome songwriting. Hold Me Close, with its driving rhythm, passionate lyrics, just makes you want to get up and dance. Really amazing thing. And that's what really caught the attention of Joel Doo and the Doo Divinity Den. I mean, they're all, Jake and Joel are from the same hometown in Linville, Indiana. You're listening to the Unindoctrinated Show with Jordan Cohen, and the stories we're telling today are attempting to get at the bare truth, the bare, raw, unadulterated truth, looking into ourselves and how that reflects on how we view society and the world around us, especially in these crazy times, these fast, rapidly crazy times. People talk about AI, people talk about technology, robots taking over the world. And so through these stories and it's easy for us to comment and, criticize all these things going on in the world around us. But how do we really feel about these things, honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves? And one of the ways to be truly honest with ourselves is to get at the bare truth, which is the truth that we aren't even able to see ourselves in any given moment at that moment. So through the use of these types of stories with Joel Doo, the adventures of Joel Doo, and the Doo Divinity Den, and all the great friends and characters around it, we're able to reveal inside truth that even I can't identify in this moment, because the reason I'm creating this dialogue in this free flow form right now is to access elements that I can't even see, but I might be able to pick up, or others might be able to see when they watch these tapes and this video and listen to this podcast, or maybe even just hearing the audio without even the visual reveals truths that we don't pick up. And oftentimes that's the case, because when you're listening to the radio, you're actually hearing the voice and the words they're speaking. Whereas if you're just watching a TV show, oftentimes you can watch an entire episode of a show, and if someone was to ask you immediately afterwards what that episode was about, oftentimes people won't even be able to remember what it was about, because it just goes by. They're just distracted by all the visuals, and they're not really listening to the dialogue. They don't even know what the plot is. It's just interesting visuals. And so we have to take that into consideration as well, like how we communicate now, because communicating with those type of visuals, if that's quicker and easier for humans to take in, maybe you can say it's lazy, but it's also very real thing that's happening. So when you do a combination of visuals, You want to make sure that the audio and the words and the dialogue is not just lost. And that's very difficult to do nowadays because there's so much information. And that's how I talk about even these big formats are just competing with slivers of every individual perspective, because every person now is a commodity, just as every particle in the universe is a commodity. It has a value. It can be resourced. Much of it's unknown. We don't even know yet, but every particle has a value, even if the value is to not go near it, like a black hole, for instance. So we talk about Joel Doo and the adventures of Joel Doo and his ministry and the leader of his mega church. And we talk about the rock band Ruby Skull and how great they are. And Jake Evans really is a great songwriter. And his buddies Paul and Keith have been with him the whole time, even since back in the day when they got into trouble. And now they're living the righteous life, preaching doo-dooism. And the whole thing about preaching doo-dooism is you're not preaching, you're just actively living it. You don't have to talk about it. And that's partly why the doo-doo Bible contains the Bible and all this other material. Some say secular material. I say material that's important to the world we live in today and can help us organize how we disseminate reality. So, anyways, Jake and had some other songs. Time to Move, something about the Magic Stones, Enigmatic Worm, Where's the thing I don't know about, or something. Where's the thing I don't know about? You know, so sometimes, just kind of dime store philosophy nonsense, it seems to me anyways. But good songs though, well written, and people like them, and people dance to them, and people get into it, and people chill to it. And it's got this pop thing, but also they kind of take some of this music out, and they really kind of give it this like, Santana thing where it's like, ooh, it's like bam, bam, Anyways, so there's a story about how Joel, Jake, and Gatlin, the president of the Lions of the Den MC, associated with doo-dooism, we're all riding motorcycles together. And they're talking about, the electric bikes nowadays and the super fast hyper bikes. You see people rolling down the highway, doing wheelies at 140 miles an hour. And, and how the old hogs and the whole Harleys, and what's the future of Harley Davidson, and they have this whole conversation about respecting the road and riding responsibly, and how these crazy machines now are just kind of like these suicide machines, and people don't respect other people on the road. They just kind of zip in and out, and I get it. If you got one of those fast bikes, you want to take that out, but you got to understand there's people on the road that are like, especially down here in South Florida, it's crazy. Everybody who lives down here, we don't have to get into the traffic in South Florida and the safety on the roads. So they're talking about motorcycles, and they're talking about different things related to, I guess, what's going on with the MC nowadays, because the MC is completely legit. They don't do nothing. And that's why nobody messes with them, because they know they're all legit and they're all about the doo-doo divinity den and doo-dooism and the doo-doo Bible. And so that's all about just doing it and not talking about it. And using faith and God's trust that He gave you your brain as an important tool to use, and not just to be used as a repeating microphone echoing someone else's ideas, thoughts, and words, where we should all be echoing our own. And due diligence nowadays is more and more difficult. And so when I talk about the bare truth, and we could talk about cultural objective truth, but all these things are important today. And if we can look at ourselves and see, ooh, I see that because I got blind spots. My name's Jordan Cohen, and I got blind spots, and I'm going to keep uncovering these blind spots as long as I keep moving forward into the future, because I'm going to be open and have my knees bent and be able to investigate criticism. And they say sometimes the price of wisdom is always way, way too expensive. And anybody that's lived long enough has been through enough tragedy and things happen in their life where it's like, man, I can't believe I wasted 5 years and I got this little morsel of wisdom from that. But the thing is, if you don't use it, then that 5 years is, you're throwing away that 5 years for another 5 years of the same nonsense. So that 5 years may be really expensive for that little morsel of wisdom, but it's going to be a lot more expensive if it takes you 10 years to figure that out. So you have to recognize, and I recognize I got all kinds of blind spots, and that's why I partially do this show for selfish reasons, so I can better myself and maybe become a better communicator. And maybe in that, it's helping everybody else. And I really want to help everybody the best I can and help them think in a way that's maybe giving them a novel approach to situations and events and how they want to think about themselves and view themselves moving forward, no matter what situation they may be in right now, or they had been in, or something that's holding them and taking up a lot of thoughts in their mind that they can't just unwind and release. And that's almost impossible sometimes if you ask the people that have been going through some certain things. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist in that way. I'm just a social analyst and someone who has been writing and creating original content for a long time, reflective on my experience in the world from the 1960s until the present day in 2024 at this moment. And so my opinions are subject to change, and my knees are subject to become rigid without me knowing. And that's why I want to be able to make sure that that doesn't happen, because I want to keep my knees bent. I like to dance salsa. And we want to be adding more and more elements to the Unindoctrinated Show. And like in this episode, I'm going to be putting in some visuals I've been coming up with. And anyone who knows my art has seen my paintings, my crazy ballpoint drawings, and my big paintings and big outdoor sculptures, and and things like that. So, but for this narrative, for the Joel Doo narrative, and Ruby Skull, I have other imagery that I've been creating to create this, and I don't know if this is going to be a movie someday or a miniseries, or maybe we're just going to, I don't know how we're going to, right now I'm thinking about just doing this episodic series on the show of Joel Doo, and we got some other actors we're talking to play different parts of Jake Evans and Sheriff Mulroy and some of these other characters and Sister Sin, etc., to play in the show. And I think that's how we're going to start it, doing this episodic thing and see how it develops, see how it goes. I know there's fans out there that already are kind of like invested in the whole Joel Doo Bible and the Doo Bible and the Doo ministry and the Doo Divinity Den and all that. So in the teachings of the spinning hourglass of variable infinities and the 94 pairs of, what is it, tanzanite and fire opal magic gems that have this extra otherworldly quality, magnetic something, I don't know. Anyway, so and the other iconographic, is that a word? Iconography? The iconographic paraphernalia and symbolism within the Doo teachings and doctrine. So the iconography, or the religious symbols and all that. The iconographic. Yeah. All right. Well, okay, Jord. With the iconographic. So we're going to have some imagery of Joel Doo. He's this dashing man, a beautifully sculpted physique and figure with piercing green eyes and dark hair. And some of the other characters, Sister Sin and the other ones that we love so much. And some of these buildings and structures and the insides of some of these churches and clubhouses and all the scenery. We're going to be creating this whole storyboard. And maybe, as people comment on this stuff, maybe they can help direct me about how we want to, do this story all the way and create this, whether it be a TV show or some type of mini series of the kind of, almost like Raiders of the Lost Ark, but the ministry of Joel Doo type of thing. Since he was a child, since he was a 6-year-old doing the martial arts, and learning from Uncle Trev on Uncle Trev's barn. And there's a part where since Gatlin Ranger knew Joel Doo from when Joel Doo was just a child, a 13-year-old prodigy, kind of working for this with Uncle Trev. And I think he did his first real job, not till he was like over 14, but still young for a kid to be doing black ops operations. And they're all statewide for this organization called GSR. It's like Gunder Silk, I don't know, recon or reading logistics or something. I don't know, something weird. And they work for that, but that's where Gatlin Ranger knew, and he also knew Uncle Trev really well because Gatlin's older than Joel. Joel was just a prodigy, just very precocious. And so Gatlin had been looking after Uncle Trev because Uncle Trev, I guess, hasn't been doing well health-wise of recent. So Gatlin Ranger's been looking after Uncle Trev, looking up on him, while Joel has been doing things around the world with the ministry and the Doo Force and all that. And so that's kind of an interesting thing going on. And that's how Gatlin Ranger, and then after Gatlin did his military service and all his private contracting work, he started this MC Club, really just following the teachings of his friend Joel Doo and the Doo Bible, and Gatlin knew about like Joel's like kind of exploits, overseas with the CIA, I guess, when he was like uncovering this kind of like secret, mystical, secret wisdom knowledge in the form of, I don't know, texts and scrolls maybe. I don't know, but all that's nobody can prove anything, and that's why, but apparently all that is woven into the Doo Bible. And the interesting thing about the Doo Bible is that as the new editions come out, they come out every 4 years, and it's important because they're closely examined. And some of the secular, I guess you'd call it, material that may have been in there in the previous 4 years might be replaced or exchanged, and then some of the ads, some of the sponsors, so to speak, because the whole thing about faith, belief, is you have to recognize and know exactly what's going on and not trying to pretend like something's happening or something isn't happening when it really is. You can't pretend that something is not happening when it's really happening. And so that's the beauty of Doo-Dooism and the Doo Bible and the teachings of Joel Doo. And it's really just a beautiful thing. And it's really, and I think Ruby Skull, the band Ruby Skull, and lead singer Jake Evans is a pretty good guitar player. So they're going to be going on tour, and there's a story I'm going to be telling about one of their episodes down in Bogota with some cartel folks. So that's an interesting story. We're going to be telling you that one on the next episode of The Adventures of Joel Doo, which will be on the Unindoctrinated Show with Jordan Cohen. I'm Jordan Cohen, and thanks again for joining us this morning. And if you're driving, it's late at night, or you're driving early in the morning, or you got your kids in the car, or whatever the case may be, we just hope that you have a safe and prosperous and eventful day in the most positive way for you and all the people that you love in your life. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.